everybody, this is Robert Burke and welcome to When to Play. In today's episode we are going to be talking about this game here called Splendor. Splendor is getting a lot of buzz right now. It's by Space Cowboys is the publisher, and it's getting a lot of buzz because it has just won the prestigious Spiel des Jahres award. This is probably the most important award that a board game can win. And so a lot of people are very interested in this game right now because it has won the Spiel des Jahres. So I want to talk about how the game works, and so you can see if it might be something that is for you, and in what situations you might find Splendor is a good fit for your game group or your family. So Splendor, the first thing I really need to say about this game is I really believe that this is truly a gateway game. It is a game, I think, that will appeal to hobbyist board gamers who take the hobby fairly seriously, but it will also appeal to families and non-board gamers. And that is kind of the holy grail that if you are a tabletop gamer that you're looking for, because you want to be able to play games with people who are not in the hobby, so you can expose them to it, and hopefully maybe they'll enjoy it and want to look at more games that are out there. Splendor fits the bill for that. The first reason why I think it fits the bill is because it is a very simple game to teach. So here's the rule book. It is 4 pages. It's really 2 pages. If you know, the cover doesn't have any rules, and the back has some information on the designer and the artist, and it's got some nice illustrations in it as well. But the rules could not be simpler. It is very easy to pick up, and you can teach this in 5 minutes. And when I say 5 minutes, I mean you can teach it in 5 minutes to somebody who does not play board games. It's that easy to understand. The components, let me show you the insert tray of this game. It's really very well done. Inserts are very hard to do well, but this insert is nice and sturdy. It's thick. The 3 different decks of cards have slots that are the perfect size. You see each deck is a different, has a different number of cards. So you'll know exactly where to put these decks. There's deck 1 and 2 and 3, and they get thinner as they go up. So you've got slots to put those cards perfectly every time. You're not going to need bags to store your components in this. It also has these poker chips, and again, it's got slots, formed slots for all the poker chips. Now these chips they're really nice. They're nice and heavy. They come with stickers. You do not have to do the stickering yourself. It's already done for you. But they have a really good weight, and I think this is a case where the component really makes the game more enjoyable because of just the feel of those heavy poker chips that you're using. And it also has these tiles. These are the nobles that you're going to try to get come to your side and score points for you. So these are nice, basic 2mm punch out tiles. And they're fine as well. So the components are really nice. The insert is fantastic. The box is probably a little big for the amount of components in it, but that's okay because it gives you places to put everything back very easily, which I like. So Splendor, how does it work? So basically on your turn, you are going to put all these chips out on the table. And there are different types of gems. There are blue sapphires, there are white diamonds, there are green emeralds, there is purple amethyst, there are red rubies, and then there's gold. Now gold is a wild card. So if you have a gold chip, you can count this as any color gem that's in the game. So the cards, you're basically going to lay out rows of cards. You're going to place, this is the first card here, the 1 card, and on the backs you'll see that there's a little dot on the bottom. That's set 1, so those are the easiest cards to get. Then set 2, these become a little more expensive. They go on the row above the first set of cards. And then you have set 3 with the 3 dots. And these are the most expensive cards, but they are worth more points. So you're going to lay these cards out on the table in 3 rows, 4 cards each. And you're going to put all the chips out on to the table. And then you're going to put the nobles, you're going to put one more noble than the number of players on the top above the cards. So there's no board in the game. You're just kind of laying out 3 rows of cards, a row of nobles, and then you're putting the stacks of chips on the table. So on a player's turn, you have some choices on what you want to do. You can take 3 different color chips as your action, and you get to do 1 action on your turn. So you can take 3 different color chips. You can take 2 of the same color chip, as long as there's at least 4 of that color in a stack. So as players are grabbing chips, the stacks are going to shrink, and if there are less than 4, you may not take 2 of the same color, but if there are, you can. So that's the other thing you can do. You can also reserve a card and gain a gold as 1 action. So let's say this card was on the table and you wanted to get this card, but you didn't quite have enough to buy it. And you'll see down here, it tells you how many chips you have to pay to gain this card and build it in front of you. So this would take 2 white diamonds and 2 red ruby chips. So that's why you're collecting chips. The goal here is you're trying to collect chips to gain these cards. And when you want to gain the card, you pay the chips back to the bank, and you take this card and you put it face down on the table in front of you. And now you'll see this card has a red ruby on the top. That means that you're going to have a free red ruby, as if you had a red ruby chip every single turn for the rest of the game. So that's how you build your engine. You're buying these cards with the gems on them, and those gems are going to let you buy more powerful cards and more valuable cards as the game goes on. So it's really kind of a race, and it's a race to 15 points. Whoever gets 15 points, well, I should say, when any player gets 15 points or more on a turn, the game ends. Every player remaining gets 1 more turn, and then the game is over, and whoever has the most points wins. So it plays very quickly, 20 to 30 minutes. I would say you could play a game of Splendor, and there's a lot of very interesting decisions. Now, as you get into the second row, you'll see these cards, they become more expensive, right? So this one here costs 6 white diamonds to purchase this card. It's going to give you another white diamond right here that you can add to your collection, but it's also going to grant you 3 victory points. Okay, so that as you get more of these, it's going to enable you to buy the next level up to start gaining points as well as more gems. And then the last level are even more expensive. So you'll see this one here costs 3 white diamonds and 7 amethyst, purple amethyst. So you need 10 resources here, but you are going to earn 5 victory points and another white diamond. So that's a card that's worth a lot of victory points right there. And if you've been building up your cards, then it's going to help you buy these more powerful ones. Like if I had this card here, remember the white diamond, I've got a diamond, so I would not need 3 chips here. I would only need 2 white chips to buy this card, as well as the 7 amethyst. So you're basically just trying to gain cards before the other opponents gain them. You're trying to get different gems on those cards so you can buy more powerful cards, and you are trying to be the first to get to 15 points or to score the most points at the end of the game to win. The nobles work a little differently. Now the nobles will come to your side and count as points. This noble's worth 3 points on the same turn that you gain what they need here on card. So you see this one needs 3 green gems, 3 blue gems, and 3 white gems. Now the difference with these is you can't use chips to buy these nobles. You have to earn these on the cards. So you see if I had 3 cards with a blue sapphire and 3 with a white diamond and 3 with a green emerald, as soon as my turn ends, this noble will come to me and I will score 3 points. But you can only score 1 noble per turn, so there is a limitation on that. So that's basically about it. Oh, you can also reserve a card. I don't know if I talked about that. If you want to reserve a card, I take this out of the row and put it face down or hold it in my hand, and then I can take 1 gold. All right. So I'm preventing another player from taking a card that I may want to build, and I'm gaining a wild card chip. Now on a future turn, I can build this card as long as I can, pay the cost of that card. So that's basically it. On your turn, you're going to take 3 gems of a different color. You're going to take 2 gems you're going to take 2 gems of the same color, or you're going to take 1 gold chip and reserve a card, or you are going to build one of those cards by paying the cost, whether it's on the table or it's a card that you have previously reserved. First person to score 15 points, the game is over. Everybody else gets 1 more turn. Player with the most points wins. And that's it. That's how you play Splendor. Very, very simple. Okay, so when do you play Splendor? I think Splendor is the perfect filler game for a game group. It plays 2 to 4 players. So if there's 2 of you and you're at the game night early and you need something to play quickly, this is perfect. If you're playing a large game with 5 or 6 players and you're waiting on people and there's 4 of you there, this is a great game to play while you wait, because it's only going to be 20 to 30 minutes, and it's going to really, it has some depth to the strategy. The cards come up randomly, but you have so many choices that there is a strategy there, or at least the feeling of strategy, which I think is the important thing. I also think that this is a great game, like I said, that you can play with your family. If you have a family who likes gin rummy or set collecting games, this is a very good transition over into a board game that I think they will really enjoy. It is good, good for families. Kids can play this game. Young kids can play this game because they understand it. The colors are very easy to recognize. The iconography is very simple, but it works very well. It's very easy to see what's on the table, how many points each of the cards is worth. It really could not be a simpler, more streamlined game. And for that reason, I think it really fits very well into a family situation. It fits very well into a gateway situation where you are trying to introduce games to somebody who hasn't played games or has much experience with hobby games. And it also fits with gamers because it is a good strategic filler that gamers will enjoy. So yeah, did it deserve to Spiel des Jahres? Yeah, I think it did, based on the few times that I have played it now. Now there is a very small amount of take that kind of stuff in Splendor, and the only take that element here is when somebody reserves a card that you are pining for or that you want. But that, if you don't like that kind of thing, I don't think it's going to bother you too much, because there's always so many choices. You're always going to have 12 choices. As soon as a card is taken, a new one is replaced. So a lot of times you're in a situation in this game where there's no cards that you really want, but by the time it gets back around to you and these people are taking cards and flipping new ones over, something's going to be there that you could use, or that maybe you can buy for free because you've earned a bunch of cards with gems on them. So that makes it very interesting, because you're always waiting and watching to see what gets flipped. You're trying to figure out your path to get those points before the other players do. So it keeps you engaged. And that's, I think, what makes this game, a big part of what makes this game such a good game, is because you stay engaged and it's fun, and you do have to think and get a strategy in your mind and then execute that strategy, but it's not a brain burner. It's not so heavy that you're taking forever, and some players can have a little bit of analysis paralysis problem on this, especially when the card they wanted disappears and now they're trying to count their chips and that kind of thing. That happens a little bit, but it's minimal. So those kind of things, if you have problems with AP, or you have problems with take that, do know that there's a little tiny bit of that in Splendor, but it is so minimal, I don't think it's going to bother you if you don't like those kinds of things. So that's something to keep in mind as well. It's basically a card drafting. Those are the two main mechanics, is you're drafting cards. So you're looking at the cards on the table and trying to decide which ones are going to be the most efficient cards to take and build so you can win. And it's also a set collecting game, right? So you are trying to collect sets of gems, whether in the chips or whether you're purchasing the gems that are on cards. So the sets that you collect are going to be different every game depending on how you start and what cards you get first, and you know the paths that you can find to the higher point cards. Those are the sets you're going to try to collect. So if you like set collecting, if you like card drafting, then you really need to have this game, because those are the two main mechanics and they work very well here together, and it's very streamlined. All right, so I understand, as most people should understand, not everybody is going to love every game, no matter how much I love it or no matter how much you love it. There's always going to be people that hate a game no matter how great of a game it is. And that goes the other way too, right? No matter how bad I think a game is, there are going to be people out there who love that game, because we are all different, right? So that's one of the things I'm trying to do with When to Play, is try to help you understand if it's a game that appeals to what you like in games. The most important thing, though, as far as this game having any mechanic issues or playtesting issues or any broken things, there's none. This game is a solid design. It is very streamlined, and there's, as far as I can see, there are no issues mechanically with the game. So that's important to understand. But there are people who do not like it. So for example, as we usually do, let's look at Board Game Geek and look at some of the very low ratings that people have given Splendor. These are people who do not like the game. So here is Thorsten gave it a 3. He says, just boring. Mark says, vanilla ice cream washed down with vanilla Coke. John says, these are all rated the game a 3, by the way. Why is there buzz surrounding this game? It basically plays itself. Seriously, people. John says, I will echo someone else's pithy observation. Great components. Too bad the game is 30-minute silent exercise in optimization. No fun factor for me, not worth valuable gaming time. Then we have Timo says, I don't like Splendor. It is only a game where you change chips into cards, and with these cards, you get a discount on the next cards you buy. With bad luck, someone else will take the card you want, so you have to decide which card you want to get instead. Not my kind of game. J6 says, one of the most uninspiring games I have ever come across. You invent such a game in school during the 10-minute break. Primitive, dry design. So, yes, this game is a kind of economic Euro game, right? So if you don't like Euro games where you have to build an engine, an economic engine, to build things, then you're not going to like this either, right? If that's something that you really can't stand, then you want to stay away from this. However, this is not a 2-hour-long Euro game. This is a very short 20 or 30-minute economic game. As you heard from some of those comments, if you like games with a lot of depth, right? If you like games with a lot of theme, the theme here is really kind of, it's there superficially, but it's not going to really engage you. You know, you're not going to really feel like you're building buildings and, building an empire or gaining, an economic riches over other lords or whatever. The theme isn't going to come through that way. But because it is so streamlined and the choices are so interesting, and if you like set collecting, that is very interesting, and there's definite strategy here, I would say that this game is worth every penny. Some of these people that I just read don't like it because they like more meat on the bone, so to speak. They don't like simplicity. But again, and this is, like I said, the Spiel des Jahres winner, and they tend to give that award to games who can appeal to a more mass market, and this game can. So if you're a hardcore gamer who, really needs a lot of meat in your game, then you might want to play this before you buy it to see if it's something you would use as a filler. If you're a Euro gamer and don't have any fillers that kind of fit that Euro game niche, this is one you need to get, because there's not a lot of Euro-y games that can fit that 20 to 30 minute niche. This one does. Let's read some of the high ratings for Splendor. Now, on Board Game Geek, Splendor has a very high rating now. Its rating is 7.58, and that's with almost 1,500 people rating the game. So it currently has a board game rank on Board Game Geek of 288 already, and a family game rank of 27. So this game is very highly rated, and the critics are rating it very highly too. So let's see what some of these people who've rated a 10 have said. Vivian says, permanent place in collection. This was the faster ever achievement of this title, apart from Mage Knight. Sean says, my trip to Spiel des Jahres. Love the engine building mechanics. Love the components. Love the gameplay. Love this game. Antoine says, simple and elegant, fast-paced. You want to play another one directly. Plus it isn't everybody on its own, as you have to watch constantly where the others are standing, what they want, what they might steal from you. High quality material, beautiful illustrations, but box way too big. But when that's the only negative thing you can find, it's a good sign. Dan says, plays quickly, very easy to pick up, but has some decent depth and strategy. Player interaction is constant, and the winning strategy will be had by those who pay attention to every other player's tableau. So, yeah, this game does have another level of strategy. You can just play on your own and try to find the best path to score the most points, but really good players will watch what everybody else is doing and see what gems they have collected and look what's on the board and see what their most optimal moves are. So you can reserve those cards, take it away from them. So there is you can play this game casually and have a great time, but you can play this game seriously too. You can really compete. If you're a hardcore gamer, this game will fit the niche. So again, my name is Robert Burke. I hope this review has helped you. My view is that Splendor is a gateway game, a brilliant, streamlined gateway game that has enough strategic depth for those who want to explore it to keep gamers riveted for quite some time. I think you should add it to your collection. Again, thanks for joining. My name is Robert Burke, and we'll see you again next time on When to Play. Bye.